What is going on, everybody? We are creeping towards hometowns. A lot of women went home. I think we cut the list in at least in half this week, which kind of wild. How quickly we dropped from whatever we started with, like 9 women, down to 4 at the end of the night. We start off with Sarah. This is going to be the big storyline for the week. This is what we were teased about her being the new villain. Felt a little bit forced to me. Obviously Sarah wasn't happy with the situation. She kind of got thrown under the bus by Mara, who was really headed out the door anyways. And then, yeah, we'll get into the rest of what happened with Sarah later on in the recap. One thing I did notice, though, when Sarah came back after her initial one-on-one, she was almost acting like a totally different person than what we had seen from her the entire rest of the season. And I don't know if that's part of what leads into the drama later on, but just a good thing to note. All right, from there, we jump over to the first cocktail party and rose ceremony of the episode. Yeah, we're still gonna just keep the Sarah drama going because Mara immediately pulls Sarah just to start drama, and it's like, someone behind the scenes is pushing for these moments when Mara just walks into the room with all the other women and immediately pulls Sarah to go chat outside where cameras are ready and waiting. That she was just talking with production, who then egged her on to go and start this conflict with Sarah. And this whole storyline with Sarah was pushed way too hard this week, and just felt a little pointless to me. In the end here, at the first rose ceremony, Mara and Eliza do not get roses, but Mara leaves with a very solid addition for Bachelor in Paradise as she was headed out the door. I don't know if it will be enough for her to get on Bachelor in Paradise, but she was working very hard to build up her resume over this last week that she was on the show. From Croatia to Vienna, we've got another week of dates, 2 one-on-ones and a group date, as we are down to 7 women. And at the end of this week, we will end with 4. We start with Susie getting the one-on-one. We kind of seem to always have one of these kind of dates every season, and it's like the fairy tale date. I don't know if you remember Matt James's season. He took Rachel on this like exact date, where just went and spent like 10 grand on clothes, bring all the clothes back to flaunt in front of the other women, make them all jealous. And like, really, when you put this date side by side with Serene's date, kind of paints a pretty clear picture of which one of them Clayton is prioritizing. This is like the date. This is the date that you want to be on for the season, and it is Susie who is there. At dinner, I really felt like these two did not understand what the other one was saying. Susie was kind of talking about how that kind of date isn't her, like isn't what she expects, isn't kind of what she aspires to, not really who she is. And yeah, I don't really know how Clayton read that situation, but it was pretty clear to me that he was not understanding her. Clayton kind of took it as, oh, she doesn't like gifts. And it's, no, that is not even remotely close to what Susie was saying. Susie, in my opinion, was way more on the lines of, hey, this whole thing was out of my comfort zone and not what I expect from you moving forward. I'm much happier just doing things a lot simpler, a lot quieter. Obviously, Susie gets the rose. I think she's been a favorite right from the start, and honestly would be shocked if she doesn't at least end up in our final three. Actually, I'd be shocked if she doesn't end up in our final two this season. Let's jump over to the group date. This was probably the biggest event of the entire episode, and what a horrible date. A psychoanalyst date? Like, what is going on here? Like, why would you design this kind of date? It's like very clearly set up to sabotage certain people, and it did exactly that. I was sitting there watching, and my first thought was, you absolutely want to be the first person to go in. You don't want whatever other people were talking about to linger over your conversation. You want to be the first in, and that's what Gabby did. And she had a really good interaction there with Clayton and the therapist, but it like immediately illuminates how the expectations of this date are going to be. The women are expected to bare their souls while Clayton just sits there and nods. I don't think that's how couples therapy works. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more two-sided, where this was really just grilling the women one after another. We got like 2 seconds of Teddy. Yeah, that's about all I can say. She was on the screen, off the screen. And then we jumped over to Genevieve. And immediately it's clearly obvious that Genevieve is uncomfortable with the situation. And why would you not blame her? You know, she's had no one-on-one time with Clayton, been given zero reassurance by Clayton, was thrown on that horrible 2-on-1 with Shanae, and now is just supposed to jump into this date, this couples therapy with the therapist and just bare her soul. And you know, I don't blame her. Like, why would she do that? It's pretty clear that Clayton was not planning on taking her past this date. Not a chance. Like, there was nothing that Genevieve could have done on this date that would have propelled her to hometowns. And I'm glad that she didn't just open up and like bare her soul in front of all of us, because just ridiculous that she's even expected to do that, and also very expletive to throw her in that situation in the first place. And then when Clayton does send her home, he has the audacity to blame her for not for him not giving her a chance. And very ridiculous. And yeah, you know, honestly knocks Clayton down a peg in my book. Yeah, Clayton, you know, he had his moment with Rachel afterwards, and Clayton doesn't want the women to be questioning things on a date explicitly designed to make them question things. It's a little hypocritical. You know, he puts Rachel in that situation where she's forced to start questioning things with the therapist, and then isn't happy that she did that. Very ridiculous. And lastly, we have Sarah. And we might as well just jump into the whole drama, because all of a sudden Sarah is this evil, nasty villain. She's manipulative, tactical, and you know, she's trying to run the other women out of the house. And this whole storyline that they ran tonight was absurd. You know, first off, I'll just say, I don't think Clayton and Sarah were a match. I don't think that she should have gone to the end. I don't think she should have got the final rose. But the way they ran her out of the show did not make any sense to me. You know, it felt like a total setup for the therapist to say that some people were honest and some were performative, and then not specify. like leave that hanging. I don't think that that would be how it would work in a real couples therapy session. You know, the person they had there, I'm not buying that that's an actual therapist. You know, we got some how does that make you feels, and that's about it. Wasn't buying that as a real therapy session, and the whole thing felt like a setup, like I said at the start. And the targets were Genevieve, who got sent home, and Sarah. The drama with Sarah really ramps up quick. You know, we go into the night portion, and all of the other women are absolutely railroading Sarah. For what? For saying that she was too confident about her relationship with Clayton, and it was forcing the other women to question whether they should be there. Like, wouldn't that just be a standard and an expectation on these shows? Like, if you're in this situation, obviously people are going to be talking about their time with Clayton. That it should be a given. Like, this is not weird, bizarre behavior out of Sarah. This is just someone talking about their time with Clayton. You know, what they experienced with Clayton. You know, they tried to make it come out that she had lied about some things. And you know what? Even if she had, still should be expected on these shows, because everyone is going after one person. So you want to build up your relationship. You want to over exaggerate how good your relationship is, because that is the name of the game. End of the date, Sarah goes home, and no group rose was given. You know, they tried to make it seem shocking, but pretty standard at this point for there not to be a group rose given out. And when you factor in that that everyone spent their time talking about Sarah, it kind of reinforces the decision to not give out any roses. You know, at this point, we were coming down to the end of the episode. We still had Serene's one-on-one, so I assumed that we would not be getting through Serene's date and the rose ceremony before hometowns, and I was getting a little disappointed. Then we got to Serene's date, and boom, it was just over. It was just done. You know, they wandered around Vienna for a couple minutes. They had a quick little chat at dinner. Serene got a rose, and we were done. Moving on to the rose ceremony. I really don't think there was anyone who was surprised with this rose ceremony. You know, you flick back to the group date. Teddy was on the screen for about 2 seconds during her therapy thing, while everyone else actually got a decent amount of airtime there. And in the end, Teddy goes home. Gabby, Serene, Rachel, and Susie are headed to hometowns. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I got a feeling that things are going to go poorly for Gabby next week. I don't know if that means that she's not going to get a rose or not, but what we've seen by the previews and what we saw on this preview tonight, I think that there is going to be some conflict there with her hometown. And, you know, I'm really rooting for Gabby, so not something I'm looking forward to watching. All right, that's going to be it for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we will see you later.